Hi, welcome to SPF Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are doing our daily pitching preview show with Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. Right now we're going to look at Saturday, May 9th. Joe Duffy, how are things going at OffshoreInsiders.com? You winning these past couple weeks?
Fantastic. A lot more wins than losses. Had a little bit of a losing streak, at least as we foul this. Snapped out of it big time last night. Way ahead for the year. And don't forget the NBA playoffs at OffshoreInsiders.com.
Okay, way ahead for the year. Well, maybe you've been fading Kyle Loesch. Maybe that's been where some of your winners have come from, because he has been very hittable all year long. Now he's going to be at home against the Cubs, who have some nice young bats in their lineup. Milwaukee's also been bad against lefties so far this year. Is Loesch going to get crushed again here against the Cubs?
Loesch is certainly a mediocre pitcher at best at this point in his career. I'm going to keep a closer eye on, Milwaukee if they're able to turn it around, but I can't really make much of an argument to go with Loesch at this point. Maybe that Milwaukee's bats have woken up, or take a look at the over for sure.
So, but do you think that the Cubs will hit him? Maybe just a simple Cubs team total overplay might be the best way to go.
Yes, yeah, I would agree with that. I don't think Loesch is really looking like he's in a good position to toss a doozy, that's for sure.
And then Dallas Keuchel rides again, right? He's been basically profitable, just blindly betting on him in every spot. Whatever you got, first 5 innings, full game, run lines, whatever, team total unders. He's going to be at the Angels, and the Angels, okay lineup, but generally pretty weak. Is there any reason to not expect another awesome start here?
Well, Keuchel, he's obviously been tremendous, but keep in mind that Houston, they were performing a year ahead of schedule, and now all of a sudden they're coming a little bit down to earth. So I really have Houston and even Keuchel as guys that maybe are probably a little bit overvalued at this point. If anything, I would probably tend to fade him. I think the tea leaves say it's time to start fading him, or I would pass.
Really? You think maybe we should start fading him?
I do, because Houston, I think everybody agreed that they were overachieving, including Keuchel. Keuchel's going to be a pretty good pitcher, but I do have Houston marked up as a team to fade at this point. I think they're coming down to earth, and Keuchel probably as well.
But you think so? Because don't you, when you have a team circled like that as looking to fade them, but they have like some stud pitcher, don't you maybe sometimes take out the games when he's starting?
I should probably say more accurately a check mark. A circle implies that I'm going to do it automatically. I'm not saying that Keuchel is necessarily topping the list of pitchers that I'm looking to fade, but when you're talking about that magic word of value, you know that he is highly valued right now. And yeah, I would say that I will most likely bet against him.
Okay, and then Jeremy Guthrie, guy who at times is okay, kind of like his ceiling is like 6 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, although once in a while he does have a better start than that. In general, very, very hittable, going on the road, facing Detroit. Detroit, obviously a formidable lineup. Do we think that at the very least, Guthrie will have a 6 innings, 4 earned run performance at best here?
Most likely. He's not exactly a heck of a pitcher. He's not somebody I would put too much stock in as far as betting on, for sure.
All right, so if we expect him to get hit, maybe just Detroit team total over, just pretty basic. That might even be 4.5 at most.
Yeah, I don't really have, most likely, I don't have any really strong tea leaves on that game, to be honest with you. So I don't have any reason to disagree with you.
Okay, and then Odorizzi versus Detweiler. Both are off of excellent starts, but Odorizzi obviously, in general, a much better pitcher. Do we expect Odorizzi to be good again? Detweiler to regress from his last start, maybe get crushed or at least knocked around a little bit. What do we think?
No, I would say maybe the under would be a good play here, because as you said, Odorizzi certainly a proven pitcher, but Detweiler, 2.19 ERA in his last 2 after 10.95 in his first 3. So I think while it's just the old regression to the mean, when a pitcher greatly underachieves, they usually become a good person to bet on once they start pitching much better, and that is the case with Detweiler. I don't think there are going to be too many runs here. I would say, if anything, my early lean would be towards the under.
Okay, and then what's your take on Joe Kelly and Drew Hutchison? Because at first glance, on paper, this looks like a big-time over. 2 good offenses, hitters park, and 2 pitchers who've gotten knocked around. Hutchison, once in a while, he does surprise. He did have a good start at home against Baltimore earlier this year, but mostly he's gotten hit hard, including 1 start at Boston. And Kelly can get hit as well, or do you think that the sample size is too small for this year and we're overreacting? Because on paper, at first glance, looks like you just take the over here.
I would agree with that, and not just that, but I expect that Boston's bats are going to start to come alive. We mentioned in our video from yesterday, I think it's usually right around game 30 that my research has shown when you have a team that's grossly underachieving or an offense that's underachieving. It's usually right about game 30, and I do think that Boston's bats are about to come alive, and there's certainly no stud pitchers in this contest, so it could get ugly.
Okay, Joe, that's all I want to ask you about. What would you like to bring up from the Saturday card?
Well, today is kind of a big regression to the mean type day, and remember, regression to the mean can actually mean progressing too. Julio Teheran is finally starting to pitch a little bit better. We knew that he was much better. He's a solid pitcher. He looked absolutely awful to start the year, but he's coming off of a good outing, so I do think that this is maybe a good time to start betting on him. We've discussed, remember, Aaron Harang, you had your doubts about him, but he is a nice, solid veteran who's pitching very well for Philadelphia. I would say that mark him up to keep riding him, and you know how much I like to truly find a value or overvalue. Clayton Kershaw, he hasn't looked like Clayton Kershaw. It's not like he's looked like some stiff either. It's not like he's looked like J.A. Happ, but he's been okay this year, and this is going to be his 4th attempt at his 100th win. Maybe he's feeling a little bit of pressure. I talked about a hangover because remember, a splendid year last year, then he got roughed up in the postseason. I think that Kershaw's a guy I'd probably still fade.
I hear you on Harang and Teheran. Both of them might have good starts, but they're going up against guys who might expect good things from as well. Fister going up against Atlanta, and then Jonathan Neese going up against Philadelphia. And we know that Philadelphia's lineup is not terribly formidable this year. And we can say the same thing about Atlanta. I'm thinking that even if Harang and Teheran do have good starts, maybe they're actually still be at a disadvantage against the pitchers that they're opposing, considering the lineups that they're representing. What do you think?
Maybe a disadvantage. Inevitably, you're still going to think about value. And remember what I've said all along. Look, if you have a team that's, say, 160 underdog and they have a 47% chance of winning, that's actually still a good bet. But as far as just some of my early leans to take a much longer look at, I stand by what I did originally say.
Okay, Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. Thanks so much.